they need to be, right? And then the third one is being able to make a proper plan to be able to get to where it needs to be. And then the fourth one is carrying everybody along as you go. And that includes your team. So that includes making sure that whatever team you're working with, as the engineering team or the design team, everybody knows where the end goal is. And even if you're not there, they can make a case for you. Um, and those core competencies now come in form of different ways. The documentation thing that Princess has pointed out, being able to read a mixed panel dashboard, or being able to use customer.io for customer analysis, or being able to measure and do A/B testing, things like that. It can be more specific in all of those core steps I mentioned. And I think being able to do that in the best way possible, in a way that you can measure and communicate, um, is the best way to get there, to get to senior, to get to lead, to get to group. Um, yeah, that's it. I don't know if that answers the question. I like to be as concise as possible.
Yeah, I actually think it does, right? And I'm actually going to give two examples out of what you said and
Right.
make a popular saying, right? I don't know if anybody's heard where they say two things. A product manager is the heart of the company, or sometimes it's found at the heart of the company. And then the second one is you're technically like not, well, the Oga or the CEO, but not the CEO, right? And imagine the attributes of who is the CEO is someone like, right? The ownership aspects, right? And being able to communicate to all your stakeholders, let them bring them along, right? At every point of the way. I have had conversations with recruiters where they say things like, oh, we've had good product managers, excellent product managers, but for some reason they can't communicate to the higher people of the stakeholder ladder, right? They don't know what's going on. They don't know how to break the technical aspects into the business acumen, the business impact, right? They don't know how to basically just carry everyone along, right? Like and in terms of being technical, right, I've also had I somewhat have a bit of that flaw because sometimes when I'm talking to business people, I talk to them like, come on, you should understand what I'm talking about. Like, I sound a bit technical and it's a work in progress to be able to speak in the language that my audience will understand, to be able to speak, a bit businessy and, let them understand the business impact of the features or products that I'm working on, right? Just to get to the place that I want to get to, because again, as a leader or as the senior person, it's almost like there's that expectation that you should be able to do on the both sides of the world, be technical, have the business acumen, and just generally. But you said that you had an engineering background, the person had an engineering background. Wow. It feels like I'm the only one here. But for someone who had an engineering background, um, and you're a product manager right now, would you, there's that whole concept of how technical should a product manager be? Would you consider yourself as a technical product manager? If you say yes, how would you say that, oh, I'm that technical enough, right? And if you've ever been at a phase where you felt like you were just a non-technical PM, right? How is it okay? Like, what are those challenges that you faced in having to grow to be where you are, like right now as a PM, like in terms of like the experience level that you have?
Good question. I don't know if I'm tech. It depends on the product. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
currently working on AI agents, for example, where I'm at. There's a little bit of technicality you need to have to be able to make it work because we're measuring how LLMs work and what makes them work and all of that, and APIs and testing it against accounting documents. So it's a little bit of technicality is required. I think we're technical to the product that we work on as PM. So, for example, Princess will know a lot of technicalities around fintech, right? I used to work in fintech also. I do know that, but it depends on the product you're working on. It depends on the level of information you need to have. It depends on even the team that you have, right? So if you have like a product trio where there's a solutions architect, you don't need to worry about the technical details. If you don't, you probably need to be able to explain to your engineers that you want this level of functionality and efficiency that is non-functional requirement, and
Mm.
to be able to figure out what tools get them there. And you need to be able to say, no, I don't think that's the one I want, but this one I want, right? Uh,
Mm.
Being an engineer has helped me a lot in that aspect. I don't think you need to be technical to be a good product manager. I think that's a
Mm,
fallacy. Yeah, you
mm,
need to be business savvy. You need to, all of our work is measured by impact, whether you're a technical PM or not. That's the honest
mm.
truth. How
Yeah.
much revenue are we making? How much revenue how much money is being lost? How much money have you saved? That's
Mm,
what it boils down to.
mm.
We're all a slave to the capitalist engine, a capitalist system.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound communist, but you get the gist. And so at the end of it, it doesn't matter whether you can tell how quickly an API works or what API endpoint you need. What matters is whether that would remove money or save us money, or if it's protected.
Yeah.
That doesn't answer your question directly, but that's
Yeah,
my
yeah. It does, right? But Princess, right? Would you say that being a subject matter, being a subject matter expertise, right? You've done a lot of work in fintech, like Olamide did mention, right? Being a subject matter expert, does that equate to technicality, right? Like
Yeah.
that's you being technical in as a PM in the fintech space.
Yeah, so when he was saying what he was saying, I was like, yes, yes, because sometimes when people hear I want to be a technical PM, it's because of how the word technical PM has been coined, especially in tech, where technical, they're just thinking engineering. Like you mentioned, APIs, I want to know what this is. There's a part of business where when they say, oh, this is a technical person, that means you know about a subject matter.
Mm.
So right now, I'm working on a particular. So inside that fintech, there are still different categories and different. There are people who are experts in loans and anything credit. There are people who are in banking. Like if you call banking 3 times, they'll appear. There are people who are doing like cards, anything cards. Like another person who is in credit has maybe just like top knowledge about cards, and then another person is like, I know what you need to do if you need to start a cards product. Like if you wake certain people up, they can tell you the end to end of what you need to do for a cards product. But if you ask them, are you a technical product manager? They will say no, because of what a technical product manager means in like our everyday sense. So for the sake of getting jobs, people would try to be more technical on the engineering side to get the technical PM jobs. But sometimes some companies are actually looking for subject matter experts. So because I started building like cross-border payment solutions, you would say that, okay, that's another part again of fintech where someone is now building out products that, are basically in the cross-border space. So you see recruiters reaching out that we are looking for a cross-border product manager. So
Yeah.
now you as a PM, will you not start telling us, oh, sorry, I want to be a cross-border product manager? So
Yeah.
there's something Roger mentioned. I don't know if any of you knows Roger Norton here. He's a very close friend of mine and a friend of our community as well. So he mentioned that your PM career is like a Christmas tree. At the bottom, you are doing everything and anything. And then as you try to grow in your career, it becomes leaner. It becomes leaner. It becomes leaner. That's why if you have like 10 years experience, there are some things that you are now known for at that top. You can't be a generalist PM anymore. Jennifer, if you can remember last year, December, we had an event where, there was a talk around generalist PM and niche PM. And the speakers gave very solid points about this. Like, it's all about context, because there are some companies that what technical means to them is not what technical means to another company. What technical means in Money Point is different from what technical might mean in maybe GT Bank. So a technical PM in GT Bank might be in the trenches, even coding. We don't even know what they're doing there. A technical PM in Money Point, maybe I have more understanding of what they're doing. They're like an engineering manager. In fact, there's no technical PM role in Money Point anymore. All technical PMs are now engineering managers. So they have seen that these people are more of engineering managers than technical PM. So there's nothing like technical PM anymore in Money Point. So now if you had a dream of, I want to be a technical PM and I want to join Money Point, there's no role like that anymore. So now, do you not want to be an engineering manager? So I think context matters a lot. And if that's part of your goal in life is to be a technical PM, that's fine. But you need to understand, like, am I doing it as a career path? Am I doing it because it looks like that's what's hot right now? what exactly? So you have to ask yourself a lot of questions and do research. I love research, not just for products, like for myself. If I'm trying to make a decision, I would ask questions, speak to people, read, down, go into the rabbit hole. So you really have to ask yourself that, what does technical PM mean to the kind of places that I want to work at? That's what you should work with. If it means you need to learn how to code, maybe start learning how to code. If it means that you should be a subject matter expert, that's what you need to do. Because now you hear recruiters say, for us to hire a PM for this role, you need to have cross-border payment experience. Like they'll tell you. And then I'm like, thank God though, they hired me at the beginning. No, I did not have cross-border. I did not have cross-border solution, but I joined very early at the beginning when they were trying to build the team. But if they want to hire me now, I don't have cross-border. So they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, you're not the PM we are looking for, that kind of thing. Because I don't have the cross-border payment solution, cross-border payment solution experience. So it means different things to different people.
Yeah.
Like people say, even all these frameworks, all these things that they give us, they're a guide. Honestly, they're a guide. You still need to come up with things that will work out for you and yourself. So if you want to be a technical PM, kindly find out from the kind of companies you want to work for what technical PM means. Like I mentioned before, if your goal in life was to be a technical PM at Morning Points, there's no role like that anymore. What are you now going to do with your life? So all those kind of things can come up where your whole life can just change because one small thing in a company changed, or one small thing in the product management space. According to ChatGPT, ever evolving landscape, and it's not even a joke. Product management is an ever evolving landscape. Next year, it will be another thing that will be buzzing now, because many people are doing like AI and technical PM stuff. What if they say next year PMs are now CEOs, not mini CEOs anymore? Will you now go to business school? If they now say next year PMs are now designers, will you now go to design school? Like, you need to find out what works for you, the kind of companies you want to work for, what those companies require of PMs, especially in the line that you want to blow. I mean, there's nothing wrong with learning how to code, but I don't think my manager or my CEO expects me to learn how to code. I mean, they need me to understand what's going on, but they would appreciate my understanding of the payment products we are building more than the engineering side of things. I mean, to work better with my engineering manager, that's needed. But they would appreciate the subject matter side of things more than the other parts, because like Ramide said, at the end of the day, it comes down to business outcomes. Are we making money? Because if you are the best champion in the world and your product is failing, bro, at some point they will start saying, well, whether we should hire a business product manager that will come and help us push this product, or should we hire a marketer? Like, your job will not be hanging by a thread because you are very good functionality. If they say API 3 times, you appear. But then you don't know how to do customer research. You don't know what customers want. You don't know anything about profit and loss. You cannot do a forecast. You cannot, that's when they're saying pricing strategy for our product. You cannot lend any voice in that meeting, because the only thing you know is API or anything technical. No shade to our technical PMs. But all I'm saying is that technical PM means a lot of things to a lot of people. So for people who are trying to transition, try and do your research and understand what companies that you love to work for, like Amazon now, check. Do they want technical PM? If they have, what do they expect those PMs to do? You can now start doing them. All those things. Like, please just have as much options as you can. But yeah, the summary of your question is, depends on the company. At my own company right now, they would appreciate me being a subject matter expert in the specific parts of payments that I'm handling than the other side, because they have hired engineering managers to handle that part. But of course, to make conversations easy, I still need to have like a basic understanding of it, but not like I'm carrying it on my head.
Yeah. I have a lot of similarities, like in things like you just mentioned, right? Like at the beginning of my career, it was a bit more generic. Although I started my PM career like in decentralized finance, and it was more, I feel like it was more me understanding merchants and what they would need. And then I think along the point I had integration experience, and right now, one would say that maybe I'm a payment product manager-ish, but I probably cannot apply for card roles. I think I'll apply for more integration like roles, because that's where my experience is at Ticketmaster. A lot of integration of payment features or products for other markets. And like you said earlier, coming into how technical you be is more lenient at some point. At the beginning, it's a bit more general. And I mean, still building on this, right? At what stage do you think? I mean, I don't think but I think Esther had mentioned somewhere that you're on your global talent, I'm a global talent person as well. On global talent visa. That's what it means. For everyone trying to understand what we mean. At what point of our career, we've spoken about our phase to measure success, right? As a product manager. At what phase do you think would you advise that it's the right time to actually take this bold step to applying for the global talent visa? I applied twice. The first time I didn't get it for more personal reasons. But the second one I did take my time, to show them all the stuff that I had done, right? I wasn't shallow-minded about it, right? But at the phase of my career, when I applied for it, I think I was 2 years in as a product manager or 3 years in. I can't actually remember. So probably in 2023, I started product management probably in 2021, November. So at what phase do you think, and I don't think it's about timeline, I think it's about depth, right? Of work or effort you've kept in, but what point do you think is that right stage for someone to take that leap of faith in making application for the global talent visa?
There's no timeline. When you feel ready, that's the time. That's the time. Honestly, when you feel you have enough evidences, bro. I applied 2 years and a few months in. So like there's no specific time. Some people are waiting to have 5 years experience, which is okay. Some people are even waiting because they need to build the evidence, which is fine. Like immediately you feel like you have I was not thinking of this global talent at all. My manager did it, my former manager rather did it, and I was like, oh my princess, come and do. And I was like, it's not this to do it. He said, do it. What are they looking for? And then we had like a brief for it was like, you have this, you have this, you have this. I know you have this one, I know you have this. I said, you have enough now. It made you feel like you have enough evidences. What are they looking for?
Yeah.
You've been involved or you've built a product that, it's innovative, being a product-led company, blah, blah, blah. And then you've done stuff outside your work that is making impact and you can prove it. That's another thing. Those are the two major things. The rest are like maybe people saying, oh yes, I know this girl, she has done work for me before, she would never ever disappoint you. Please allow her to enter your country. That's it basically. So the hard part is gathering the evidences or showing, like even though you say, oh mommy, I know myself, I've done things. If you know the things I've done, how can you convince somebody that it is you that actually did those things and the impact of what those things have done? So if you say you built the first something now, AI is booming now, so just say I built AI powered something Nigerian language for people that cannot see. Okay, that's great. So what's the impact of that? How many people were impacted? How did he do this? How did he do that? And how can you show it? Honestly, that's like the baseline. Another part where people feel like they're not ready is something outside of work. So I'm a volunteer by nature, like since I was born. I've been volunteering for different things. I volunteered to even like very, very hot areas in northern Nigeria. I volunteered in places in Lagos. Like anywhere that's doing volunteering work, I'm in front. So I've always had things that I've been doing, and most of those things are maybe on the internet. I don't have a problem to, getting those things. So immediately I transitioned. It's not like I now started doing those things because like I've always been doing all the kind of things. Like immediately they say, oh, I'm in a group and you're like, oh, who wants to do this thing? My hand is already up. All those I still know children that immediately say, I'll put my hand up. Yeah, maybe some people don't even like me, but it's okay, it's good, it's fine like that. But yeah, like those things just come naturally to me. So immediately I transitioned, I had a small issue when I transitioned to product management. Nobody was able to help me. I was like, oh, I need to start a community of people like me that nobody is even looking at their face. That's how people in product came up. Who knew that 2-3 years down the line, I'll come and say, oh, I'm trying to build a product. This is the impact we made. And then they're like, let's give you a visa, stamp it. So I was not doing it so that I can apply. I mean, people who do it to apply, man. I don't fault them because anyway, in a way. But yeah, it's just like thinking about things that you can do outside your work. So even though you're doing it to apply for technician, it should still come from like your heart, trying to help people outside work. People try to join communities, people try to do more community work. Some people that are already doing more community work want to now be more visible with the community work. But I think those are the major things that you need to do, because all of us have worked in companies and those companies have made some form of stride. So we can actually say on that development side, we can say what we did there. The bottleneck is mostly what you did outside your work. And now Technation has new rules that have made it quite hard. They have said no online mentorship anymore. If you're doing mentorship, it has to be like face to face. So me now gather like 5 PMs in my house or something. I'll be like, oh, even if you look enlightened, let's take a picture or something. Or maybe like Pip Hangouts today, just gather people and say, this was me mentoring people. If you're looking for Pip Hangouts, please take pictures so that you can use it for your technical application. But yeah, just stuff like that. And then showing people that you can actually, you're doing this work and this is the impact of this work. So most times when people show that, they now show the overall body. Maybe they even put people achievements in addition to their own. So their application is very strong, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's the bottleneck. But there's no timeline to it, honestly. If you get into product management today and you feel that after 1 year, you've worked on products that have made some impact, you've done some work outside your 9 to 5 that has made some impact, and you have people that can vouch for you that in these 12 months, this babe has really gone over and beyond, my sister, my brother, you're ready to apply.
Yeah. I'm going to actually build on what you said and you talk about some more tips, right, before we move to Olamide. You mentioned something around doing something outside of your 9 to 5. I would also say, aside from doing something outside of your 9 to 5, there's something called thought leadership, guys, right? In your company, how do you represent your company? Are you the one that like I said, Priscilla is always like, oh, she's always the first person to raise her hand, right? If today Ticketmaster to come to our products group and say, oh, we need someone to talk about the product that they'll be working on, I'll raise my hand. I can talk about what I've worked on because we have about 8 PMs in my company and every PM they do something different. But I would love to go and talk at that conference just because I want to show that I know my stuff and I'm keeping everything for documentation purpose, to be honest, right? So you need to have that sort of like thought leadership. If you've not started today, you've not been doing it in the past, consider it today, right? There's something about people being able to recognize your face, right? Being known for something, right? No matter how small it is. The second thing I'm also going to mention is she said that I think you did yours 2 years and some months in. I think mine was almost in I think we did the same year. You got in, then I did mine. I tried mine like again, right? And I think it's about depth, right? There's some product managers here, they spent just 2 years. And then when they get into another company, be like, are you sure you actually just have 2 years experience, right? And it's about depth, about the amount of work that you've kept in and being able to tell a good story. It's a story you are selling. Right now, it is sales. Buy my market, buy my story. I promise you, I actually did this, right? Let them be able to read it and then be like, this person actually did the work. And that was the two difference between my application. There was more of a storytelling in my second application, right? And for each storytelling which I was trying to sell, I backed it up with somewhat like a reference, so that those people can back me up, back that particular story. So you know where they say, oh, you should have about 3 recommendation letters. I promise you, I had 6 because they were mandatory and they were optional. So at some point, I'll be like, oh, I said I did this. I spoke here, whatever. I said, come and back me up, please. You were here when I did this thing, right? And I said, these are more insights on what I had done. This person can talk more about what I've done in this reference letter. That is how I wrote it in my evidence, right? Or in that particular PDF. So it's a storytelling game, a game of storytelling. I know people think about the amount of salary that, there's a salary evidence part. And people are always, a bit scared that they're not making as much money. Trust me, if you're making a 500,000 or let's say from a single job, right? You're probably earning more than most people do in Nigeria as a product manager. Now, I know people that it's not just one job that they kept in their salary evidence. They collated, I kept about 2 because I'm working about 2 jobs then, right? I kept the 2 this thing in one. I say, if you total this amount of money, oh my God, I'm actually a very rich person in Nigeria. I'm the most respected person in Nigeria. So if I come to this UK, I will earn times 10 of this amount of money. That's the point of the salary evidence, to show that you have a sum of value monetarily, right? And you're saying if you come to the UK, you're going to be sought after, you're going to, be that person-ish. So you don't have to just keep a one job. I know product designers that kept gigs that they've done. There's this place where product designers, where they do side gigs, right? So anyway, you're doing your side gig, your full-time job, please combine it together. And yeah, the next thing I'm actually going to talk about, right? I mean, we're still on the matter of diaspora.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, Jennifer. There's something I want to say before we move to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, in addition to all these things, there's a way that you can actually show people the amount of people that are being, in quote, impacted, especially for let's say maybe thought leadership or your articles. So there's something that I did. I have a lot of templates that I created for PMs that year. I connected them to my Bitly link, and I have articles as well. And I connected those articles to my Bitly link. At the time, I was just being very arranged because I like things very structured in a specific way. So I didn't want to put random links on the internet. So I would go to Bitly and write the name of the article and then share it online. I was not thinking of TechNation. This was 2 years before I even applied. But then I realized that going to the back end and looking at the analytics of people who visited that site, you can put it and say, oh, 4,000 people actually read this article. Do you know what it means for 4,000 human beings to land on your article and read it? So that's part of the screenshot you can put and say, bro, I'm not just writing for my family and friends, 3 or 4 people. Come and see what I'm doing, because sometimes these blogs or these places where we write, you might not get analytics on it, or maybe you have to pay or something. I don't know. But then if you connect it to another link where you can actually see what's happening, how many people clicked on your link, how many people landed on your page and read it, is also something you can put. So I'll put my transition, maybe my transition story in screenshot, and then I put the analytics by the side that, or more, even on Medium, this post got up to 900 likes, and it got 4,000 views, and it got 10,000 impressions, something like that, to show you that, well, I didn't just write this article to help product managers. People actually came to read it. So that's something that some people don't know that it's actually happening at the back end. Please, when you write or do stuff, before you post it, connect it to a platform where you can go back to screenshot analytics, especially when you know that you want to use it for something. Like I said, you can do it, which is great, because you're not doing 2 things. You're actually helping product managers on one hand, and then you're helping yourself to gather evidence that you would need for your application data.
Yeah. Solid advice, Princess. I think Substack does that. They actually also show your analytics too. So in case you're looking for someone else that you want to actually be writing your blog post, right? That's also a form of thought leadership too, right? Still on the diaspora matter. Lamide, I think you're in Portugal, if I'm correct. I sort of want you to put us through, how you got there, right? I know you're a product manager, probably working for either a US or a Europe company. And then the struggle as a PM in the diaspora, in abroad that is not Nigeria, basically. Culture is different. Work culture is totally different. The having to even get that adjustment you had to make to fill in that gap, right? Between the how you had worked as a PM in Africa and how you're working currently as a PM in the abroad, right? There's definitely a gap, right? I don't feel like most PMs coming from Nigeria are actually too intense with the way we work. We are too intense. And it's actually so crazy, right? We are too intense, and I won't say the job here it doesn't make me laid back. There's some things I'll be like, no, I'll still write this requirement document. I will not leave it for you, this BA. Me, I will write it, because if I don't do it, who's going to do it, right? So that gap, how you made that adjustment, what gap did you face? What gap did you see? What challenges did you face? And all of that.
Yeah, good question. first of all, I want to point out that I don't like begging countries to take me. So there's a reason why I'm not in the UK. I started technician application. I was on the second page and I'm like, can I swear here? Is it okay for me to swear? I swear in real life. Is it fine for me to prefer people? Yes or no? Tell me, because now I
I'm,
swear. Don't tell
I'm sure.
me.
I'm sure. Tony doesn't have a problem. Please swear.
Okay. That's all right. It's how I talk in real life. Sorry. Anyways, I don't beg people to take me to their countries. It's not my. It's never been my style. It's never been the case. I don't care enough to beg the UK. I was on the second page and I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing this. This is not my. This is not my thing. And so I was looking for other options. But thankfully, my own approach or path has been different. So as I pointed out before, I used to be a software engineer first. And then I took a very terrible decision of co-founding a company. So like I co-founded a real company, we raised some money, acquired customers, built a products, the shenanigans, hired all of that. And that was where my own proof of whatever came into play. I was lucky enough, made some money, it was okay. And then it failed. And then I decided to do product after. And then I started with Eden Life. I was the first PM and just left to join a company based out of Spain. The difference between being a PM at Eden in Nigeria, first PM, and being a PM that was working at a platform for building chatbots in Spain boiled down to storytelling. And like they pointed out, shilling. She's right, we're intense and it's trauma. And I agree, it's not anybody's fault. Um, but you can do all that work, and if you can able to explain how you have gone about it and the impact and the results in a very nice way that people can understand, you'll fail. It's going to be very hard to transition. The best PMs I have known that I worked with, most of them were from Google when I worked at the Spanish company. Some of them were from Google, some of them were from like Microsoft, but like the US version, which the way they do products is different. They're also as intense, by the way, as Nigerians. The only difference is that they know how to lie more than we can, in terms of like impact. This is true. I'm saying that you can come and fight me. Okay. They know how to lie much better than we can about the impact of their work. Some of them is true, right? So how we 10 billion people used it. Somebody that worked at Chrome, for example, there's the settings page with a settings button. Someone will say that 1 billion people checked it. I just went there to go and change my main browser from Edge to Chrome. Doesn't mean I use your product though. It doesn't count. But at least 1 billion people still used it. That's a story, and it's true, right? So how you're able to tell your story, I think, is the most important, biggest difference. Number one. Number two, in Nigeria, we focus incredibly on shipping the right thing. So we have to be correct in a lot of the assumptions that we do. We're not very experimental. And with experiments come a lot of metrics and tracking and being able to say, okay, you know what, this is the idea I have. We built it in 1 week. We tried this out. My intention was that it will get us 70% adoption, but it did not. It got us 30%. And that's fine. You've learned something, right? We don't do that well. We don't do that very well in Nigeria because of not even Nigeria, in Africa, because my startup was in Kenya, and then I've also built products in Nigeria. So I have some experience across 2 or 3 African countries. We have to be right or we'll fail, if that makes sense. Like we don't have the chance to be wrong. We don't have the privilege to be wrong a lot, right? As PMs in Nigeria. And that's the reason why you need to be able to make a mindset shift of, even if it fails, there's a lesson here. Being able to do proper postmortem, and say, okay, so this is what my assumption was. There was 3 assumptions. This is what we did to prove those assumptions. This is what I expected to happen. This is what actually happened, and this is why it happened. Right? Again, boils down to incredible storytelling. You have to be very good at being able to articulate those things in a very clear way. And that's the biggest difference between both. That's a skill set that kind of needs to be gathered. And then the US culture also is a little bit different from the European one, and then different from the Nigerian one. But what they all have in common, the two, as the African one, is that they are open to experimentation and you being able to communicate clearly why something worked or something didn't work. That's what they both have in common. Now, how they go about it is different. Americans are hustlers. You will work, I don't know, 10 hours a day. If you have to stay up to make sure that something is shipped, you'll do it. You know, they pay my reflectors, they pay my dots, depending on where they're hiring from, but you will have to do it. In Europe, after the 5 o'clock as knack, you can go to your house and nobody will disturb you for the weekend. right? But they still also want to be able to know that you know what you're doing by being able to measure the work that you are doing, by being able to track what you're what the impact of what you're doing is, and being able to communicate it to the right stakeholders by abstracting the communication. So what your developers want to know is different from what management wants to know in terms of communication, right? I don't know if that answers the question also. I'm happy to talk about other things, but basically know how to, I don't want to say bullshit, but know how to inflate the stories. Just a little bit.
So would you consider like any of these gaps, like was it like a very tough adjustment for you as a product manager, coming from an African country to, the abroad?
I'll be honest, yeah. When you're raising money from people, you have to know how to inflate and lie a little bit. So I got some practice beforehand, thankfully. So it was not it wasn't, no, we're not lying, I guess we're not telling everything, That's what founders do. Your founder is doing that probably. I'll be honest. Don't go and ask them because they'll fire you.
Allegedly, please.
I'm not allegedly, I'm saying facts. They just come and drag me. So your founders are inflicting something. So it wasn't too much of an adjustment.
Okay.
If I had to do a couple interviews to learn that, okay, these people want to hear the truth, but they also want you to put makeup on it a little bit. So after like maybe 2 interviews where I got to the final stage and they were like, you got impact, but it wasn't big enough. So I was like, okay, yeah, I see what you want me to do. And that kind of help. Right.
Okay.
We all have it in different forms in our current jobs. We do that.
Even if it's just a little bit minute. Yeah.
I'm not saying you should lie, that's not what I'm saying.
Nobody's saying you should lie, you guys, right? Again, it's
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying instead of saying, oh, we released the product and only 100 people used it, we had 100% growth. That's not a lie. From 0 to 100, even if it's 100 people, it's still 100% growth. You have not lied. You have just
I think it's the storytelling.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Right? I get you. I'm actually going to touch back on what you said, right? But so I would touch on what Princess is going to say and what you're going to say, right? Princess, you moved to the UK. And I believe at the time you moved to the UK, were you working for your previous company? If you're working for your previous company, how were you able to, you're mute, by the way, how were you able to renegotiate? Did you negotiate your salary? What did you do, right? Before moving to Moniepoint?
I might not be able to go into details because this is a public call, Sorry, guys. But yeah, like from the beginning, like I mentioned, I don't know if you guys can remember, I said it was my manager that told me to do technician. So it's not like I was hiding it and then I just came up and I said, hey guys, I'm going to the UK, bye. I can't remember anyway, So from the beginning, like they knew about it. The leadership wrote letters for me. So it's not like from the beginning they knew about it. So I think that's one step. First of all, if you're planning to do that and you know that you need some sort of, safety net before you get like a new job in the UK, please let everybody know, at least the people that matter in the company know that you are doing this thing. Like whether you get it or not, of course you get in Jesus' name. But whether you get it or not, like just let them know that, hey guys, maybe CEO and your manager, let them know that this is what you want to do. You're trying to apply for technician. This is how far you've gone. You're currently gathering so and so, and you should be able to go by so and so quarter, or like you don't really know when, but this is it, And then after I applied, even my manager kept asking me how far have they gotten back to. I was like, oh, Monami, I applied. Wait now, stop giving me high blood pressure. Anyways, when they finally go back to me, he was one of the first people that I told. I was like, oh, they've gotten back to me. He said, oh yeah, start packing your load. I said, let me do stage 2 now. You know the stage 2 after you do stage 1. I said, let's do stage 2, let me give me the visa. He said they've already given me the visa, book flight and be coming. So there was this enthusiasm already, and everybody was like generally happy for me in the company. So I didn't sneak at all. It was very open. So we already started having conversations around what will happen at this point, like what's going to happen when you move, because your salary is very good in Naira, but Naira is not the best currency right now in the world, and against the pound, which is like the highest in quote currency, like in terms of currency value, even though they say USD is the best, anyway, that's beside points. Pounds is still higher than USD. So if you want to do pounds versus Naira, you will just be getting how much in pounds, So they already understood what was going on. And then we had like an internal conversation where we agreed to upgrade my salary to another currency, which was agreed on like C-level and then mid management level and then cascaded down to me. So I was like, oh yeah, thank you guys. So the switch between me and a new company was the other company was acquired and then I was poached into the new company. So it was like a smooth transition where I don't know if the new people would have continued to, support me in that way, but thank God for the new opportunity. But yeah, that was it. I was very open from the beginning. And I think they were open to also supporting me because they didn't want me to leave the company. I even had like a very long call with one of the leaders, and he was like, "Oh, this one you're going. I know that your eye is choking inside abroad company. Please don't leave let's hire someone before you go." Like it was a very fun call. There were no pressures attached at all. So that's another thing. Maybe you have a relationship with the people that you work with so that when these kinds of things come up, you would be able to comfortably speak to them about it and they can work up a plan for you. I know that like they told them, okay, after 6 months, we'll not pay you again. But at least that 6 months really helped them. But there are some people that they were like, oh, immediately you leave this Lagos, we're not doing anything for you. And that can be a mix of maybe office politics. I feel like, who told you to Japa? We that were in Lagos, we have to, what happened? You are going now, go and look for a job there. So some people even quarreled and had like a bad exit from their companies where they were moving. So please, like I mentioned, try to tell your people early enough. If you know there are even bad belles in your company, you cannot tell them you're traveling because they'll stop the plane. Please, no, don't tell them. So find a way to start looking for a job while you are here before you move, but it's still challenging. So I can't really say, just tell at least one trusted person who is a decision maker who can help you, make that switch like I did. I was very blessed to have the opportunity as it came, but not everybody would have the opportunity, but you can actually try.
Yeah.
If they know that you thought of them at the beginning, you didn't just, even companies that switch salaries, if you jump on them and tell them I'm traveling next week to the UK, from where to where, and you want them to change your money from naira to pounds in how many weeks, like they already start asking you like, who sent you? You're going to UK, go now. We'll keep paying you naira if you want to keep working with us. So it's like a stakeholder management version too.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And to build on what you said, right? Because I've had friends that, well, one was working for a US company in Nigeria. So when I think they wanted him to move to Canada, they were going to work on a skilled work visa for him, but he said that he was going to try and apply for the global talent visa. Now, even while on the US salary, they sort of pay based off on the country you're at, right? So they won't pay you the 100,000 they're paying small in the US and pay it to you in Nigeria, right? So when he was moving to the UK, again, the similarity in this conversation was that they were aware on set, right? And then I think a couple of months, maybe 2 months, 3 months in, they had adjusted because they don't have a paying body to pay that money in the UK, the taxes, they have to consider all of that, right? You have to pay your tax. So he had made them aware from the beginning of the entire conversation. Some companies are not going to be cool with you moving, so they'll tell you that if you're okay with collecting naira, that's fine, but if you're not, out, right? So the most important thing is putting people in the loop. You have to understand that it's actually a business and you can't impose on them to switch to pounds. That is one of the strongest currency and most expensive, right? So let your stakeholders be aware from onset before you even make the application, right? That's what I would also say. Olamide had said some stuff around that gap, right? Our son working in IPM in diaspora. I'm going to say that the experience, right, is a bit different. Job hunting, I've never really had to hunt for a job. I think most of my roles were actually based off on referral, right? And coming here and having to put in that work, right? And one thing I noticed, like in all my interviews, like before I got my job at Ticketmaster, was that I had one person tell me that they can't hire me because I'm not rigid, that I'm actually, I think, outside of the box. That was what they said, right? I think they wanted somebody that, after A, B, and C, that is the way that's the line at which they are following. But luckily for me, at Ticketmaster, and what I did at Ticketmaster, and I've had other people do the same thing, they've actually gotten the jobs, right? I'm very good when it comes to case studies. And I've noticed that when we Nigerians, because I said we're intense, right? If you tell us to move the mountain from here to here, we're going to move it 5 fingers. And they're usually very surprised at the amount of work that we put in for something that they require only 1 finger. And I would always tell people, show up and show out, right? And it's going to actually, put you in the better position. I've heard other people taking when I refine their case studies and say, you have to do this as if you're actually doing the real work. And they come back telling me that they were asking them, are you sure you just did this for just this interview? And they don't even want to hear anything afterwards. Most of them got hired, right? So don't be very mediocre with your applications, with your interviews. Even at work, don't be mediocre. Even as much as the culture here is a bit different, like Olamide mentioned, once it's 4 p.m., 5 p.m., everybody has gone. In fact, it's 3:59, right? People are already, trying to like clock out, or 4:59, people are trying to clock out. They take their weekends and pub times very serious, so don't be mediocre. Still take that value that you brought in from Nigeria into the UK or into the European or US culture. Would soon start taking in questions in the next 2 minutes, and I'm going to put this last question on Olamide, right? For PMs that actually just wanting to start out, most of the times they're always like, what can I do to get an internship, either at the startup company or the bigger company? It is about that taking a bet. Like I said, someone took a bet on me, right? How, aside from the fact that maybe the person that introduced me had a relationship or something, right? I've not had to directly apply for a job, but they took a bet because they saw the skill sets, right? If someone can't take a bet, how can someone make that application and get that role as a product manager intern? Or what are the things they need to do to be able to get to that point, right? Where if they make that presentation to say, oh, please, they make that presentation to say, I'm applying for a product internship, or the company is going to hire them. What would you advise?
That's a very hard question because there's no one hard or fast rule. I think the only one rule I can advise you with, and this is a very hard question because it's a thing I've been thinking about for a very long time. I tried an apprenticeship model with someone before. They're doing it right now. Not a lot of PMs have the time for that. Not a lot of PMs are in the role have the time for that. I don't blame them. There's a lot of high urgency, high expectation, low reward systems for PMs. That's why, first of all, if I go into the detail of that, I wonder why you want to be a PM in the first place. Not to demarket it or anything. It's like, why? I did that to yourself. But if you have decided that you want to choose this life, we're here now. I cannot do anything to change your mind about it. I think my advice will be show proof of work. And they've talked about how they've gone about doing theirs. The way I did mine was I did a lot of writing. I have a Substack, a couple Substacks. I've had Medium in the past, long time ago, where I just write my muses on products. And that comes with being curious, right? Being always looking for new products to try, to test your product knowledge, to understand why did they make this decision, why did they do that, and I write about it. Your theory of it, your hypothesis of it, and assume that you're the PM for that. Well, so for example, the first international job I got with the company in Spain, what really actually got me that job was a case study in quotes that I wrote. I wasn't doing it as a job application thing, by the way. I just wrote it because I was curious. I love Notion. I don't know if everybody knows Notion, the product. I wrote a case study about Notion and about 3 things I would love to see in the product, and wrote like a sort of like a technical requirement for some of them, with the background as to why. And the person read it when I wrote my cover letter. So I really truly I did not submit a resume. I just wrote a cover letter in the application because at that time it wasn't, you cannot do like multiple resumes for multiple CVs for multiple jobs quickly. You can do that now with AI. Well, not about 10 years ago, right? Or 7 years ago. And I did a case study, they read it, they loved it. That was what my first 2 or 3 interviews was based on. So it wasn't based off of what they wanted to ask me. We just discussed that. They asked me questions about it. We talked about it. We thought about different ideas also on the call, as if we were working together, and they got a feel of how
kind of person.
they like with me, right? And that was it. That was how I got the job, right? I think it's the same thing that you guys, every other person is trying to get to, trying to find something outside of Nigeria should do. Think outside of the box of where you have been given, which is the context of Nigeria, and create your own box, right? And if you prefer doing diagrams, if you prefer prototyping to show your proof of work, do that. You have nothing to lose, and share it. Nobody will beat you. Some people laugh because people always laugh. They're assholes, but the right people will see it, and your life will change if it has to.
Yeah. I think you've really said like really solid things, right? I had a lady from Denmark, she's a product analyst, saying that she wants to transition into product management. And this was my advice to her. And I think this will be my advice to everybody, just, sort of like round up our questions. I said something. I said that I would advise you, if I want to be honest, that you need to, so I'm sort of like in a group of, I think it's called a synergy, right? There are a lot of amazing women there, engineers, designers, what have you. You're coming in with zero experience, right, to apply for a product associate role if there's no internship, right? Now imagine somebody that is coming in with a year or 2 year experience trying to apply for that same role. Business-wise, it will make sense for me to pick the person with a 1 year or 2 year experience as opposed to you that is, highlighting your transferable skill sets. Just like how engineers do it. Engineers build, they do projects, they do hackathons, they do stuff to talk about. Product managers should sort of like get into that sort of mindset, right? Reach out to a group of women, an engineer, a designer, build a project. You are actually going to gain experience while you have like a mentor, obviously, like, guiding you, your train of thoughts and stuff like that. You are actually going to build a set of experiences that you can actually say, this was the situation, this was what I did, and this was the result. And you'll be able to confidently tell that story because, mind you, in your first stage of interview, right, they usually ask of based on what you've written on the CV. And you can come and say, I did X, Y, Z. So if we can sort of adopt the same mentality, which engineers do, right, they do a lot of projects, do hackathons, gather a group of women or some guys that are doing hackathons, say, yeah, I know I don't code, though, but let me just be your program manager for this thing, right? Use me as you want. But technically, you're actually gaining value out of it. One is that you are sort of building a technical acumen by your interaction with them every now and then. You are free to actually ask questions. How did you do this? How did you do that? And you have a bit more leverage than somebody, with that person that had like a year experience that's applying for the same role that you're applying for, right? That would actually be the most practical advice that I would always give anybody, aside from the fact of showing like, that the curious mindset, like you said. I've seen people that will do a PDF, break down the product breakdown, to catch their attention or whatever, right? But I feel like my advice is a bit more practical, right? And it's actually more achievable than the other. All of them for the purpose of making one good, which is getting that job, right? So there's no one size fits, in terms of like this. I really had a very, very, very good time. I said at the beginning of the session, I was going to catch, try and get like your emotions, your mood. We've rounded, the questions up. So, Princess, how are you feeling? Are you still like in the same energy when, as when you started the event?
Another energy has added to that one.
Oh,
the sun is shining outside. So guys, I'm happy because the sun is shining, guys. If you come to UK, you should be coming so that you understand the joy of seeing sun. It's not easy. Whenever I'm in Lagos, I'm like, you guys are taking this for granted. I need to put the sun in my handbag and take back to London because it's not easy, guys. Wow, I'm so happy. I'm so elated. Thank you very much for this opportunity. The sun is shining outside. Good. Thank you.
Olamide, what's your energy?
No, I cannot relate to the sun thing. Such a UK complaint. My sun is shining. I'm hungry now. That's what I'm feeling at the moment.
Okay.
No, but really, I feel good. I feel like I want to talk a little bit about the way to get to Europe, because we talked about the UK a little bit, but for the EU one, there's options that you need to look at, and the requirements is not as much as what the UK people want from you people. They want to collect a kidney to prove that you want to live in their country. We're not doing that. We don't do that in this side of the world, and it's sunny all year round. You won't be like Princess screaming about the sun at 12 in the afternoon, you know. There's options in Spain and Portugal. There's options in some parts of Croatia. Spain and Portugal, now there's something called a something work visa where you don't have to have a job before moving. You just get the visa to be able to come and apply for jobs in Portugal. Don't
I
remember
think it's the digital nomad visa.
No, it's different from the digital nomad. Digital nomad means that you have some earnings and you work for a company outside of where you live. This one is a something worker. I need to remember. If I remember, I will share for someone to share it with you guys. But we do some research around it. Spain is open. Malta, 100% is open. Malta is actually more open than most of the other parts. Then check Portugal, check Croatia. And so that you don't have to beg for the sun like some people.
Yeah, I think my mood is I still feel very pumped as I was in the beginning. And I did say I promised that it was going to be very insightful. And it was, right. I got to find out a couple of things about new boats, especially that this is study engineering. I did not know that I studied engineering. And even the part where you said route to traveling, like relocating, I feel like if you actually relocate to the EU country, you don't need to apply for a Schengen visa, right? It's like to move around, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Well, UK, you would apply for Schengen.
Yeah. So that's actually a very big benefit. So don't limit yourself to be thinking UK. Think about the EU as well. So I'm going to hand over to Esther. You guys, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversations. Yeah.
All right, that was a very, very wonderful session. Just to wrap up, we have a couple of questions, and it's just 3. Any of us can answer, and I'll be sharing them on Slido. If you can see my screen, you can just take a look at the questions. I think we've mentioned especially how to position yourself for global roles, but probably in 30 seconds we can summarize. Because this person was very emphatic about it. He said just high level and to save on time, how can I position myself for global roles? I think we can start from there, and we can take it Lamide or Princess.
Let me answer that more specifically, especially if you're in Nigeria, because it's different if you're outside of Nigeria, right? Look for angel lists. They're called Well Found now, I think, something like that. Look at Well Found. Look at EU jobs. There's a website called EURemoteJobs.com, something like that, where you can apply for global roles. Check Welcome to the Jungle. That's literally the name of the platform. That's not me. I didn't name it. That's what it's called. I know the job market is the jungle, but that's literally what it's called.
Yeah, it was previously called Alta.
It was previously called Alta. So Welcome to the Jungle. Those are 3 platforms. Focus very heavily on your cover letters. Try to write different resumes or CVs per role if you can. AI makes your life easier now. You can make that happen. What I mean by that is let it fit the job description. Use some words there. People say that, but it actually kind of works. If you can, find people that work there, cold email or cold message them, which means you have to be able to tell your stories in the way that resonates with people. The last thing is your cover letter is king. Most people take 1 second to look at your CV. The cover letter is in story form in a way that they can engage and say, this guy started from here, it did this, and he had a funny story that happened in between his career here and the problem of winter. Makes a world of a difference.
All right, thank you so much, Lamide.
That's it. I don't know if that's practical and high level enough, but yeah.
Yeah, it should. I'm trying to save up time because we have just 1 hour, 30 minutes for this session max. The second question, I guess this will go to Princess, is product management as profitable now as it was a few years ago when it became a popular role in terms of demand and career progression? Is that what we can answer this within 30 seconds?
Thank you very much for that question. I like talking about money. So every role is profitable. Depends on how much you're demanding from the person that wants to pay for it. People pay for value. How are you showing yourself, or how are you putting yourself to the company, and how much do you think they can pay you? So you see some roles, they'll say 500K to 1 million. Why they say 500K to 1 million is because they will pay depending on the value that they see from the person that is coming for that interview. So you say, oh, I'm a tailor. You are charging 5K for your dress, right? How much is Vicky James charging? Because of our brand, because of her value, and the number of years as well. So it's still, in fact, I wouldn't say product management was profitable in quotes before. It was just like one of the, in quotes, easiest ways. Like I said at the beginning, people think that the opposite of no code is product management. They don't ever think of design or anything. They just say, I don't want to code, so I want to be a product manager. Like, I'm like, who told you guys that? But anyway, welcome. We are all here together now. But yeah, any role is profitable, I promise you. Like anything, plumber, plumbing, electrical work, carpentry, every single skill in this world is as profitable as you want it to be. The kind of value that you are bringing, how many years that you have been doing that particular thing, and how you can translate it to letting other people believe that you're the best thing after sliced bread. Please demand for what you want, and they will give it to you. Remember, you have to still back yourself up with the things that you have done as well. So yes, ask for what you want. But if you are transitioning to tech for money, in quotes, product management might not be the best choice. I'm so sorry. I've said so many things here. It looks like I don't like this product management. Please forgive me. If you're trying to transition to tech, you can check other roles. In fact, there are some designers that even earn more than product managers. Like in a product team, you can ask what other people are earning, and then you find out that you are the person earning the least. So maybe you start asking for more so that product management can now have more rep. I don't know if you like more value to the people that are paying, so they can now start paying product managers more. I have never been in that situation because I have big mouth, and I'm going to ask for the highest amount possible for any role that that's coming my way. So I'm always paid very well.
All right. Thank you very much, Princess. We have 2 more questions. One will go to Lamide, one will go to Princess. I just want to maximize the time we have. Lamide, what is your advice for health startup in Nigeria as it is in the early stage? Then for Princess, I think you've talked more on charity. So if one partakes in works of charity to homeless people or motherless babies frequently, can including that help in the global talent? Can including that help, in the works of charity, help in global talent visa application? Lamide, would you want to go first in just 30
Sure,
seconds?
I'll try my best to do 30 seconds because that question is multifaceted. I have a lot of follow-up questions, and I talk out really fast. Catch up if you can. If you're working in something that is infrastructure based that government is supposed to be fixing, run away. Don't do healthcare. You're wasting your time. If it's something that you're targeting a global audience and you think that you can, so Nigerians will not pay for healthcare stuff. I used to be an healthcare founder. I know this. That's why we launched in Kenya, and that was very good. So run away if you can. Focus on SaaS or something to generate some revenue if you think. If the government can solve it, if the government is supposed to be solving it, don't solve it. You don't have the money to be able to make it happen. Nobody will give you the money to make that happen. If you are okay not making a lot of money, then build it, talk to people, focus on low income people that really need it and would not pay a lot for healthcare because that's where the market is. You can sell the number of people you have to a bigger company in the future to scale. I'm sorry that I'm being pessimistic, but yeah, that's the way it is.
All right. Princess, would you want to take the other question on charity and homeless people, if it is okay to include that experience in global talent visa application?
I don't know who wrote this, but the first answer might be no. Why? Because it might be very hard for you to connect that to digital impact. Remember, Tech Nation and global talent visa is a visa given to you when Tech Nation endorses you. Tech Nation, what's the first thing in Tech Nation? Tech, digital. So tech, it has to be connected to something in tech. If that homeless, let's say you built a platform or something for the homeless people, you can connect it. But if it's just that you went to an IDP camp in Kwara State, or you went to an IDP camp in Zamfara and you were feeding the children, it will help you win a grant somewhere else. But you have to connect it to how you did it with with tech, with your digital skills, and the impact of that thing. If you find it hard to connect it through tech, please just leave it alone. Maybe God will bless you and your life will become great, but it might not really fly for Tech Nation visa because it has to be connected to tech. So if you can connect it, maybe quickly go and build app for them to connect homeless people to somewhere. Very good. That would be a gold mine.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming around. I think this is where we take our feedback. How will you rate the session? What is your key takeaway from this session? And what would you advise to improve on? I'll be dropping a link on the chat box. Kindly do what to do that. Feedback is very important to us. So people were asking about panelist publications versus newsletter. I guess we are going to get that from them and share with us. I mean, when you got the information about this, you are going to get that. But just in case you might want to drop your LinkedIn, I mean, Jennifer, Princess, and Lamide, you might want to drop your LinkedIn to our participants here on this call.
Can
So
I
they might
drop
want
my
to follow.
YouTube? I don't want to drop my
Yes,
LinkedIn. I want to drop
please.
my YouTube.
All right, do well to do that. I mean, a lot of people want to get more in this insight and all of that. And for context, we have so much more coming. Trefoid, I mean, Lamide was talking about European getting global talent visa for European, because it's more like we are more focused on UK talent for this call and European visas and all of that. I mean, we have a lot of these coming forward, actually from Trefoid. So that is where I'll be dropping the tally link. You can just copy it and save it somewhere and try to fill it up later, because we want to get your insight into more of the programs we'll be dishing out, and then kindly do well to take your time to fill this. So programs that will be coming up, what aspects do you want us to, especially for mid-levels and senior levels? What aspect in global career series? Mind you, global career series is not a one-time event, it's going to be a continuous series. But what do you want us to focus on? We'd love to hear insight from you. So I'll be dropping the tally form now, but because the call is going to be ending in a few minutes, kindly do what to copy this form. Oh, awesome. The community manager has dropped it. We are building a community at Trefoid. Help us bring it to life by filling out this form. All right, she has dropped it. Kindly do what to fill up this form. I'm going to drop subsequent links as well. Can you do well? Save it and fill it up later. But in the meantime, your feedback is very important to us. Do well to share your feedback with us. How will you rate this session? What are your key takeaways? I mean, what actually captured you the most in this call? I would love to hear from you, and I would love to bring it up this session. Was it Princess? I mean, this is the first time having this connection, this Jim provide. So good to see. Olamide's way of just
In
trying
real
to
life.
say the right things.
This how I am in real life. This how I am in real life. I don't know what people see on the internet, but if you know me in real life, this is my default, guys.
It's so good to see. Lamide way of simplify this. Oh, no, don't give a shit. I don't know that. Oh, so good to see. Or Jennifer's calmness and composure. It's good to see that. It's so good to have you on the call. I'm reading out the feedback we have. We should have a couple of feedback on this call. Please do well to rate the session. I'm sure my panelists will love to see the session. Trevor will love the feedback, and yeah, it's help us to build more on what we should be bringing your way, especially in building this community we are trying to build. Kindly do. Oh, awesome. A lot of things are already dropping in the comment chat, but I want us to make use of the tally form. It will help us build the data. I mean, that is what we talk about, build data, and it will help us in terms of our decision making. Oh, Lavide said that's what we share is LinkedIn.
If you can find me, good luck, but I'm not sharing.
I found you, Lamide. You're actually just on private because I can't tag you on LinkedIn, basically.
Well, I am.
Oh.
Okay, no, I don't. The app is annoying to me. I don't know how to use it like that. But yeah, just, you know.
All right, with the few seconds we have, please drop your feedback. Very, very important to us. Very, very important to us. Okay, a lot of people have found Lamide. Also, Lamide, sorry, but you're happy there already. We are
That's fine. And the good thing is I'll respond to everybody if you ask me a question, but I'm not sharing it. It's intentional. See you.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Please do well to copy the link, fill it. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to bring more sessions like this. But please help us to know where and how to structure this session. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I noticed a lot of people were still filling the other questions I asked the other time, that where are you joining from? Thank you so much. People joining from Netherlands. I saw that. People joining from Ghana, from Spain, from Kenya. It's so good to have you around. We have more of this session to come. And yes, it was streamed on YouTube in case you want to like go back and have a feel of the moment you had. It's streamed on YouTube. Just go to our Trefoid. Yeah, we are currently on YouTube. I might just share this in a moment. Our link on YouTube. Please do well to reconnect from there. I would love to hear from you. Is there any other thing? I guess that's all for now. We've shared our feedback, we've dropped the tally form. I want to believe we've done well to copy the link and then take our time to fill it. And then, yes, we are going to be sharing it in our communities and also our Treport socials. Do well to fill this one. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining this session. We have our marketing edition coming up next week. See you around. For those just marketing folks to come around. It's good to have you around. I guess have a wonderful weekend ahead.
All right, bye,
Bye for
guys.
now.
Thanks,
Sunny.
bye.
Bye, Princess. It's good to have you around. Bye, Jennifer. Bye, Lamde. Bye, everybody. Vivian, Florence, happiness. You will go and know everybody. It's good to have you. Bye for now.